Hello, this is Mr. Hallahan from Holy Ghost Prep, and I'm going to talk about the Baritone Saxophone audition repertoire for the 2021 All Catholic Concert Band. I'll play each scale twice, the first time tongued, the second time slurred, and we'll finish with the chromatic scale. This year, you're being asked to prepare Elegy by Joseph Edward Barrett. An elegy would be a poem written to mourn someone's death. So that means that this is going to be a very emotional and expressive piece when we perform it. This is a French composer from the early 1900s, and therefore this could be romantic music. This could also be 20th century music, and you are playing the saxophone. So this is going to be a really expressive piece, and that's one of the most important things that any of your examiners are going to be listening to when you perform this. So some things to look out for in your preparation of this piece: the numerous contrasts in both dynamics and tempo, the many ornaments that are drawn in for you, and then also adding a little bit of vibrato, especially to the ends of phrases and to some of the longer notes as you're playing. Watch out for making a difference in emphasis between triplets and 16th notes. That happens frequently in this piece. For example, straight away in measure 13 and 14, we have a measure full of triplets, and then following on beat 1, a dotted 8th 16th note rhythm. We want to hear the difference between those rhythms. A similar place for this is measure 48, 49, and 50, where you have a measure of 16th note rhythms followed by a measure of triplet rhythms, and then it goes right back to a measure of 16th note rhythms. You have to be really deliberate in your performance of these. And last, something like measure 58 is worth pointing out. We've got 3 beats of 8th note triplets, and then on beat 4, regular old 8th notes. So be careful when you're playing your rhythms that you're counting in time. Another rhythmic element to point out are 16th note entrances in the second half of this piece. In particular, 16th note entrances on weak areas of the beat. For example, in measure 43, where the first note that you play in that measure is on the last 16th note of beat 1, and that happens again 2 measures later. Second big focus of your preparation should be looking out for all of the accidentals. Look carefully between the key signature and the accidentals in measures. There are plenty of times in this piece where you could be fooled into playing notes that you shouldn't because something was changed in the measure and something was not changed in the measure, or an accidental carried through, or it was changed later on. Don't be tricked, for example, in places like measure 21, where we've got the B natural canceled out from the key signature, the A natural canceled out from the key signature, but that E at the very end of the measure is still flatted from the key signature. Another good example of this using the same note is measure 54 towards the end of the piece. Again, we've got B naturals and A naturals, but right there at the very end of beat 3, that E is flatted from the key signature still. Don't be fooled by these accidentals. Another place that might trip you up is in measure 56, where it was very nice for the editor to give us a courtesy accidental that the B's are going back to having been flatted, but you should be aware that the A's are also back to being flatted at this point in time. Beat 2, those notes are A flat and not A natural. Also look out for accidentals that have been changed in ornaments. For example, in measure 23, there's an F sharp in those grace notes that does carry through the rest of the measure. This also happens in measure 32. There's an A sharp in that grace note that needs to carry through the measure. And that's probably something that you should check out and get under your fingers right there. Those A sharps to G sharps down to F sharps. Okay, so let's take a listen to a performance of the piece. This video will demonstrate the audition materials for baritone saxophone for the 2021 All Catholic Jazz Band.